Hi, Rachel. Hi, Ruby Lane.
Hi, everybody. So buckle your seatbelts, guys, because we have a lot of wonderful things planned today. The next thing we are jumping right into, we just got done with Dawn, and we are right into our next wonderful seminar. Michael, where are we standing right now?
Well, right now we are in the Grovian Doll Museum, but this is the Grovian Doll Museum / Carmel Doll Shop office. So this is where, if you call, that you might get me or David or Samantha on the telephone. And during our events, this also turns into a private dining room. We have a group of ladies that feel that this is their own room. So we take out the desks and it will seat about 12. So it's usually always decorated with dolls so that way they feel that they're not isolated from the dolls. So always have some.
There's always
Yes.
dolls.
Yes.
So the title of our program is
Paper Magic.
Paper Magic.
We were just in 1960, and now we're going to go 1969, 1970. We're going to go back in time. And one of the things that we have in the Grovian Museum that might get overlooked by some people, but it's a passion of mine, are paper dolls. And we were talking about affordable art. Paper dolls are really some of the most incredible pieces of affordable art that you can find. And this is just a small sampling because we don't want to oversaturate everyone with paper dolls. But here is one of the rarest pieces, and this is from 1811.
1811.
Mm-hmm. And this is the Protean Man. And they came with all of these incredible
Look at that.
items. So this is a walking outfit. And if you look at him, doesn't he look like Jude Law?
He does look like Jude Law.
Yeah, he does. So it's a really
very cute.
handsome paper doll. And it just goes through all of these incredible costumes. And then, it gets into fancy dress. Like here's
Oh, there's more.
there's more. It just goes on and on and on. And this is a Turkish costume.
Look at that.
So that you'd wear probably to a fancy dress ball. And these are really very, very rare. And because of the fragility of them, they didn't all last. This is a vicar. And it's just a special,
This is
or Quaker,
spectacular.
excuse me, that's a Quaker. I'm looking at everything upside down, so I don't always see it right. And this is just
Look at
sensational.
that. So sensational.
It's really fun to
Especially because
dress
it's a
it.
man.
Yes, and this probably was a paper doll that was played with by
A boy.
a boy. Hmm. And part of that was learning how to take care of things, how to dress, which pieces here you have bless you, powdered wig. So it's a really, really super duper piece. And there really aren't many of these. I'm sure that someone, here's the
A monk.
A monk.
Amazing.
And I'm sure there'll be people on your news feed that have them, but they're very few.
A lot of people remember paper dolls and had them, especially because they were essentially a free thing that you could get in a newspaper.
Yes, and some of them were, and
Not this one, of course, but
no. Some of them were, and the thing about paper dolls is if you collect them, they can be, $5 paper dolls, or they can be $5,000 paper dolls. So it's like anything that there's a whole range of items that are available. I'm not a paper doll snob, but my interest is earlier. And I actually, if I have a choice of a wonderful one of a kind or a manufactured, printed one, I would go for the one of a kind. And now I'm going to show you, technically they're called overlays. And these were parlor art done by, ladies at this period in time. Now we're at probably about right in here, 1820. And at this time, ladies took lessons on how to paint. Ladies that had time on their hands. And usually an overlay is in profile. And so you would do a portrait and then you would overlay the costume. So this is all kinds of nuns, fancy, and here again, I talked about fancy dress earlier. We're still doing fancy dress. She's
Oh, how
got
cool.
a Turkish. This is probably meant to be Queen of the Night because you have the stars.
And again, how old are these pieces
This
right
is
here?
probably this one's probably about 1820.
1820.
Although when you're looking at it, remember that is a costume. That's probably meant to be Mary Queen of Scots. And then you have going back 100 years, so they want to look like a milkmaid with that. Again, another fancy dress. And you know, these were parlor amusements. And you know, it doesn't take much to amuse me. I can sit and play by myself all day long
How
and try to
fun.
decide which one I like the best. But they really are amazing art. But here's the thing that I have never seen in an overlay. Look at this, Rachel.
Oh, a baby.
She's got a baby.
Oh, that is fantastic.
And what's interesting about the baby, if you can zoom in on the baby's face, it looks very much like a Colombian doll. Mm-hmm. And Colombian dolls are very, very pretty. And, you know, guess what? A pretty face is a pretty face. It hasn't changed much as far as what people consider a pretty face. And, you know, these are available for sale and they get overlooked. I know right now on Ruby Lane, there's a very nice overlay that's just waiting for someone to push the button. I'd love to, but, you know, somebody's got to pay the bills here, so I can't have everything I want.
Well, we'll find it and link to it.
Okay, yeah, it is. It's I think in Vining Hill.
Vining
The
Hill.
shop at
Okay.
Vining Hill has it.
Well, thank you
And
for
this
the heads
this
up.
this is another overlay, and this is a little more unusual because if you actually look at it's head on, it's not a side profile. That's unusual, and beautiful work. This is almost something that you'd find on ivory.
Fine
you know,
art. It's just
fine art.
gorgeous.
But it's on card.
Paper.
And so what you did with this one is you slid it into this, and I'm not going to do it because it's fragile, but this clear, it looks like plastic, but it's not. It's mica. It's mica was used when very early on for stoves, to cover stoves so that you could see in it, but it's mica. And
that
now
is highly breakable.
Yeah, highly breakable. So that these surviving is amazing. But here you can have street clothes, or you know, for balls, and then you have, of course, your costumes.
And you're changing the hairstyle as well.
And
There's
the
a
hats.
hat.
So they're
crown.
very, very educational.
They are so educational.
And let's go to, so we're going to jump like 50 years.
So we're jumping ahead 50
years. This is one of my new favorite things. I think next week or there's the show, and there's a show in London, and we went to it last year, and I was so happy to find something because, you know, when you collect kind of in categories, sometimes it's hard to find. And this is Empress Eugenie's modiste. So a modiste is, and here's what's really rare about it. It's not a full-bodied paper doll. It's just the upper half. And you have all of these incredible...
And you just stick them in front.
Well, it slides
in
over.
front, yeah.
And you've got the upper part. But here's what's so fantastic is you have all of the hats.
Oh, that's
so
amazing.
You just, it's really a study in all of her headwear, and like, look at this.
Gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. And then not only the hats, but the hair. So the people that would, you know, she would have her hair done every day, and as the average upper class lady would, they'd have someone to help them do their hair.
Amazing.
Because doing their hair might be combing it, setting it, and these all have, you know, you can't, a lot of people think that when you put your hat on, that you don't, you know, now we have put hats on to cover our hair so we don't have to do your hair. This period in time, you had to have your hair done to work with your hat. So it had to, the two things had to work together. But it really is just a casebook
marvel.
study in hair. You know, there you've got your crimped. You know, you either have that naturally or it has to be put in. And just one after the other beautiful hats with ribbons. And so she went to her modiste, and a lot of the great designers that we know today, like Chanel and other people, they started out as
Look at that.
modistes.
If you guys are tuning in, we are having a wonderful seminar on the different kinds of amazing paper dolls. We are bringing you different things this week, not just dolls.
Well, these are dolls.
They are, in a way, they are dolls.
They are dolls.
Yeah.
They are no different than a Germeau or anything else. They're a paper doll that they're just in another. And here's
Another
the thing
form.
that I'm, you know, to be honest, I'm showing you things that were expensive, but Mama at home, if she saw these in a store, she could go home and make
them.
herself a set for her children. And those are just as precious to me as someone who had a great talent in art. But they are dolls. They just happen to be paper dolls. We have wax dolls, China dolls. We have all these different classes. They're just another form of a doll.
Wow.
And actually, they're really, really loved because you can easily play with them. You know, if you
They store nice and
they
flat.
store nice.
You
know, they were
you can have a
they
lot
were-
of them.
They were durable when they were new, and if you hurt them, it wasn't the end of the world. Now, as time goes by, they fit into being ephemeral.
That is amazing.
So here's Empress Eugenie. Then her best friend in the whole wide world, and the person that was her sister, was Queen Victoria. And they were two ladies that they are the only two people that could be equals and tell each other secrets and how they felt, because neither one of them would ever betray the other. And that is a very unique relationship for two people to have. And they were lifelong friends. And so this is a phenomenal, one-of-a-kind paper doll of Queen Victoria when she was young. This is before Prince Albert died, and she went into perpetual mourning. But this is when she
Wore colors.
Yes, and
wow.
she was full of life, and I think that this paper doll is probably the most beautiful depiction of Queen Victoria that you'll ever see.
Absolutely amazing.
Yes. And so whoever made it did this as, you know, they were devoted to the Queen.
Yep, they loved her.
And then look at all of these flowers. This is not some print. These were painted and then cut out and overlaid. And then the famous bracelet that Victoria had with Albert's
Look at
portrait is
that.
there. Beautiful colors, and you can see that she wasn't, you know, she had a period of her life where she was very vibrant. And then the cleverness of using Dresden paper to create the lace false sleeves.
So this was homemade.
This
Somebody
is
made
totally
this at home.
homemade. And not only that, I mean, look, the parasol moves front and back.
They're in
So
the
they've
back.
got the front and back.
Look at all that hand-painted skirt.
It's all front and back. So this was somebody highly
Look
accomplished.
at that. Look at the back of the hair.
Yeah, very highly accomplished. And this is just wonderful too. This is her riding habit. And you can see how they have the folds, because this garment is actually, when Victoria would be on her horse, which she was a very accomplished equestrian, she'd be on her horse. This skirt would go, if she was sitting, the skirt would go all the way to practically the hooves on the horse. So this is, and when I'm talking about art, decorative arts, this is the only one there is. There is not another one. And, you know, we have shared some of our paper dolls and had them reproduced so people could have fun with them and play with them. This is one I will not do that to. You know, it will stay the same you know, it's
just
the,
such
the
a
one,
treasure.
the one of. And then the
Looks like real clothing. It's just so amazing.
yeah, isn't it? And the painting detail in the face is just fantastic. And look at the lace in the slip, how they did that, and then
The boots,
painting
everything.
the folds with the
Look at there's a
gray.
shadow behind her. They even painted a shadow
Yeah,
on the floor.
yeah. So I mean, there were a lot of people in at that period in time that were very, very talented. And you know, was this parlor art for them to play with for an adult? Could be. Was it made for a child? Could be. Was it made for a royal person? Could be. You know, we don't know.
Might have been a gift to Queen
The only
Victoria.
thing I know is in the box it says, "Our dear Queen." So that's what
It might have been a gift for her.
it might have been. It might have been. And she loved dolls passionately. I mean, at one point, and someone put in a newspaper that she didn't love later on in life, that she didn't like dolls, and she actually wrote them a letter back.
Really?
Setting them straight. But I'm going to ask Kay to come over, but I think you should get a shot of Murray because evidently I bore him to tears.
We hope our viewers are having a little bit more fun.
But we have a lot of beautiful paper things in the museum collection, and some of them we have for color or to add Victorian whimsy to the displays. But this is called a beehive. So I'm going to ask Kay to lift that up, and then there's a sediment.
Oh, wow.
And then in it, these are very, very special and very rare
Look at that.
to have.
And can you explain what a sediment is to our viewers?
A sentiment, which would mean, I love you more today than yesterday. So in that is, it's a beautiful love token poem.
There is one inside the other in there, and this is all hand painted. How old is this piece?
This is probably 1820.
And then when it goes flat, it is a picture again.
It's just a picture again.
How delicate.
Yes.
And it is totally
This meant so
perfect.
much to somebody at one period in time. And it does to me too. You know, I mean, you have to be a different kind of person to collect paper. But I mean, I look at this and think, look at all that beautiful work there. And then how clever they were to sit. They probably had to use the equivalent to a razor blade and just very carefully carve out each one of those pieces.
And then if you messed up, you had to start over.
You threw it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing, you can't save it.
There's little cherubs in there rowing the boat, and then the lovers in the front of the boat. It's just so adorable.
It is. And you know, these are things too that, you know, if you're astute, you can find these types of items, you know, at doll shows and antique shops. Most of them are held with people that collect paper big time. And you can also find them on Ruby Lane. You just have to get in there and, you know, you might be...
Kind of like a shark. You have to be...
Yeah, you've got to be like a culture vulture, collecting. Well, listen, it was very nice having you.
This
and
was
we
wonderful.
will come back and maybe at another time we could show you more paper dolls.
That would be wonderful. Thank you for showing
Rachel.
us all the wonderful facets of collecting dolls and collecting everything
And they're
else.
dolls, remember.
They are dolls.
Paper dolls are dolls.
Love it.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.